Okay, so we can go ahead and get started. First off, how long have you been playing Overwatch for?
Since it came out.
Okay, so you're a platinum border, so quite a bit of time played. Oh, that
Yeah.
diamond border. Geez, sorry.
No, it's platinum.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at the Billy Beard
Yeah.
on the left. I don't think I've ever heard this music. I turned off the music a while ago.
Yeah, I just keep it on. I never find it very distracting. If anything, I've like picked up C9s on it before because it starts playing the music that it's getting close to the end.
I'm alright. How about you?
Now I don't.
Oh,
Oh, what?
sorry. I have push to mute on, so I'm gonna try and turn that off quickly. So
Okay,
like when I press tilde, it mutes Discord.
I'm gonna make it feel good.
right.
Ugh.
It's like nice to eat.
So I don't claim to be an expert on wall riding, but I know that Red Shell says that how he wall rides is he doesn't even press his arrow keys. He holds W and uses his mouse. So
Okay.
that's interesting. You just kind of flick around based on where you want to go.
Give me some spam out of
Uh, I should have called to push him.
I bubble too. No bubble for 6 seconds.
Oops.
The speed boost is fucking me up. Wait, no, come back. Please come back.
Giants, get on point.
Wait,
Get on point, get on
can you
point.
shield main? Can you shield main?
Yeah, just get on point. The sword that Rang isn't even there.
Right behind us. Kill Ryan behind us.
I'm on it.
Mm.
I have a bubble and
What the fuck? We didn't kill him?
No, because he's being forfeited by 2 main healers. Pick up the dark. I know I'm bubble.
Back. I'm out of heals. Come back.
Uh,
Okay, so
oops.
so far looking pretty good. Just make sure that you're staying on healing whenever you're not just kind of speeding your team around.
Uh-huh.
Make sure that you're wall riding as much as possible, because that's gonna give you extra survivability and speed to get around from place to place.
So should I do this? Contest the cart here? Or should I have stayed with my team?
The cart wasn't in danger of it wasn't incredibly close to getting capped, and it's not necessarily your job to contest. So if tanks
Uh-huh.
can't contest and it's a couple seconds away, then you can go and contest. But at that point, it probably would have been better if you had stayed with your team. You only want to contest if it's kind of a last resort contest.
Yeah.
On point. Okay, go point. Take a fight on point. Let's go.
Oops. Yeah, I'm dead.
Okay, make sure that you're
I was pretty
holding.
out of position.
Yeah. Yeah. First off, make sure that you're right there. You weren't riding walls, which is gonna make it easier for them to kill you. Riding walls gives you height, it gives you speed, and it gives you visibility, and it makes you faster. So you're gonna have a lot more survivability when you're on walls. The second thing is you want to be holding left click more often, because you're gonna get damage out, which means you're getting more ult charge faster. So a lot of the time I'm just seeing you shoot off a volley, you wait a couple seconds, you shoot off a volley, whereas you should kind of just be spamming it.
We're shattered again.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know why I wait for the hit markers. It doesn't really matter.
Winston. I don't know if you can get it.
We DPS. We need.
Okay, let's just wait. We're going bottom right.
Don't
Me and Ryan
let
bottom right. No, you're shattered. Turn around, Ryan.
Mm.
Okay, so if they have a Widowmaker, you can actually do a whole lot to contest her, because if you're right on top of her, what is a Widowmaker gonna do against a Lucio? So if you can, if your whole team's safe and you can find a way to get up to her using wall riding, then that means that you can do a very good job contesting her and getting her out of the fight and possibly killing her. Other thing is, a
Oh, I
lot
thought
of
my
the
Ryan
time,
was gonna stay up.
yeah, a lot of the time you're not using natural cover. You're kind of relying on your Ryan shield, and then when your Ryan shield goes down, which it will go down a lot, whether he places it down, whether it breaks, whether he just moves out of the way, it's not a reliable barrier. So you need to be using natural cover more. Use corners, use walls, use objects. A lot of the time you're standing on the open, which allows you to get sniped and shot very easily.
Like, we're already down a bit.
They're like breaking the fuck out of my shield.
Oops.
Big.
Oops.
Well,
I didn't
make sure
need
not,
that.
Yep, make sure not to panic it. React to it if you see that there are people down, not while he's shattering.
Widowmaker. I need heals.
Very nice.
Oops.
Unfortunate. So 75% of deaths can be thought over, and where you could have done something better. That was one of the cases where that 25 where couldn't really done anything about it.
Only Mercy heals.
Just whenever
Yeah.
you die, just think about what you could have done better. You could have positioned better. You could have used the ability better.
Let me know when they're coming up.
I should have used my ears better there. I heard him pinning. I just didn't think he'd hit me.
I'm in that spot.
They have balls.
Ooh.
Soldier's one. Soldier's dead.
You're down at first.
Oops.
You have to mount.
I'm out.
Shield's gonna go down.
He's in.
Let's back up. Play this corner real quick.
Is that you or is someone else calling?
I'm not talking right now.
Discord was just ringing, so I didn't know if the call dropped.
Okay.
Where's Widow? Call her out. Okay, nice.
I can't see her. Alright.
Yeah, we got her.
I pout. Oh, fuck, I blocked it?
So I should just abandon him, right?
Yeah.
There's a.
I'm trying to help Mercy here, but
I can get back if you can.
Kind of amp back, get out, regroup.
I'll
I,
probably pick mine up.
I can already think of something we can talk about afterwards. You're probably gonna want to pick up everyone here.
What?
Yeah, but no Sigma's gonna die.
Oh, yep, he should have backed up.
Oh, you guys.
Probably. I don't expect you now, but we can talk about a whole bunch of different comm roles after it's done.
Right there. He's gonna flashbang me.
You already used it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, it's okay though. He was like right in my front.
Yeah, I didn't want to get swung with a Ryan either. Alright, good move. Go.
Mm.
Okay, I have ball.
Let's do pop
Yeah,
visor, I
five.
think.
Go. I've got my shield up.
Or we pop visor.
Oh! The card blocked me. I was about to get clapped by their widow.
6 shields big on the cut.
I want a box. They're ball. What up, Mom?
6
Middle
shields.
or next
6
to it?
shields.
Oops. I don't know why I did that.
Okay, so High Noon is not an ultimate that you typically use heat for,
Yeah,
considering
and they have
that,
slam and grab. It was so stupid.
So, no,
yeah, considering the fact that he
Uh,
can still kill you through the B and
That was a powerful idea.
it really, it's very easy to counteract just by using line of sight anyways.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping that the beat would let Widow peek and just headshot him because he was standing up on the high ground. But then
But
he just stood there and lived.
she can peek and headshot him even if she doesn't have the beat.
Right, yeah.
So it's just
That was
kind
just
of
what my
this-
brain thought in the one like
Alright,
second.
we're
where I
gonna
hit Q.
talk about that in a moment. We're gonna talk about how to avoid just reactionary plays and plan ahead of time, and we're gonna talk about ult tracking, because typically, main supports in particular will have a very heavy role in comms. In a team environment, and it can be very helpful for you knowing when to use ultimates, for you knowing how to counteract other ultimates, and for you to be helping your team in the role in the comm department. We'll go over.
Crazy, dude.
Sorry, what was that?
We'll go over it after the game's done, just so that I'm not doing a lecture in the middle of the match.
I used to play a lot of Zen, which helped build like that idea of knowing when people have ults and whatnot. So like I knew the Rhine had ult in that last fight, but I don't think their Zarya had grab. But then I beat it anyway in the Deadeye. Because I'm dumb.
So, yeah. No one will talk. I'll just save it.
I want to try running Brig Lucio, but no one thinks it's enough healing.
When Brig is run, typically it's run with a Moira, and that's really only against dive.
Yeah.
And it's very good against dive, but that's the only time that's really applicable.
I'm gonna hide behind Taylor. Touch it.
Oops.
So when your Ryan's just kind of chilling and he's not walking anywhere, just stay on healing. He's critical. He doesn't need the speed. He's not walking anywhere, so just stay on the healing.
Final touch. I tried to copy you, sorry.
So like I probably used my amp too early there. Because it
Yep.
would have been helpful to speed up to the cart, but we weren't collapsing on anyone, so.
No heals, no heals. Play slow, play
And is it okay to amp healing sometimes?
Yes, it most certainly is, especially when people are critical. Or you're trying to get burst, like if you need your ultimate very fast when you don't have your ult, that's also a time that you can use amp healing.
Nice, nice dragon, nice dragon. I'm holding shield.
So just for example here, that doesn't happen if you're on a wall. You can't get
Yeah.
stuck if you're on a wall.
I just feel like if I practice that now, I'm just going to be feeding, because I'm not going to like.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be like floundering around trying to wall ride. My team's going to be like, help!
Yeah, it's just an example of why you want to be on
Yeah.
walls.
Uh,
Yeah, I think Lucio should sit.
see, like I didn't need it there. Oh,
I knew hiding.
That was probably a fine beat, because of the fact that even if it helps you survive and then
oh my god.
it helps you go in afterwards. You can maybe do that a little after though, just kind of wait for a second, because you don't necessarily know if you need beat as soon as they grab. You beat after they use another ultimate, for example High Noon, or you beat
I can't heal you.
it after your team's about to go in, like kind of amp in after where the grab's done. But typically you don't want to beat right away unless people are critical.
Dang.
Another example I don't expect you to now, but wall riding prevents that from happening. Especially if you have a beat up and you're in charge of beating if they have a shatter, then that's very important that you're not on the ground.
We're halfway to shatter and
it won't take too long for me to check off.
Usually I play Ana anyway, but
Yeah, what
I like Lucio as well.
Big shield, big shield, big shield.
I tried to boop them off the high ground there, but I missed.
Don't level that, please. Don't level that.
Get Ryan, get Ryan, get Ryan.
Mm.
Mercy, 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 mercy.
On this way.
Be a bit more aggressive on her. Speed in, go faster. Melee, right click. Don't be afraid to get in people's faces, because you can get out fast if you get low.
Behind.
Oh.
We got it. Yeah, we got it, we got it.
That's a good example on the Ana there. Like, that's very good. You got right up on top of her. You're using right clicks, melees, left clicks. She just got bubbles, so she stayed alive a little bit. Don't be afraid to get aggressive as long as you're not being focused down. Don't be cocky. That's it. There's a difference. Make sure that you're being smart about your aggressiveness, but you don't always need to play passive.
I'm pushing Payload.
Yeah, like there she was in the corner, so the only reason I went was because I knew I could boop her into the corner.
Even when she's
And
not
yet-
in a corner, you can still go for it, because if you boop her up in the air, then she has very easy tracking as she comes down.
So now, even if I didn't get shattered there, would I have wanted to beat? Because the cart's here and we spawned there, so...
No,
Would it
probably
have-
not. It's fine. You
These are red. Pop right.
they weren't pushing you guys, and it wasn't really necessary. There's other ultimates that are more important.
Big. That's big.
I know. I only have.
Okay, I'm pushing Payload.
If you want a big ass cocky motherfucker, you came to the right address.
Oh my god.
Going healing over.
Oh my god!
Only losing heals.
I'm getting messed up by geometry.
Please come back, come back, come back.
Oh, no one's pushing. Super. I didn't realize that.
No recall?
Point.
No recall.
I'm sleeping. No bubbles for now. I have bubbles.
Try pull again.
Everything. I'm big energy. Very big.
Top left, soldier.
Big man. Yeah.
I got shattered. Double. Healing up to you guys. Oh, you guys are all critical.
No, I'm not. I'm never.
Top left,
I
top
killed
left.
two. I killed two. I killed two. I killed two.
Nice job. We all live.
Oh, what?
Soldier doesn't have
Okay.
all.
How did he not get booped off the high ground there?
He sprinted backwards after the boop animation happened, so
This is one.
Nice.
it kind of he has more control over his movement midair.
Sorry, left. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Nice. Alright, good time. Oh shit. You got Sully.
Let's get the shit.
So there, and just instead of trying to snipe people, get a little bit closer to cart. That way you
Yeah.
can boot people off cart. You can hit your shots a lot easier. Another thing to consider is you don't always need to speed your team as soon as you get speed and just kind of have them speeding while they're poking, because if you're just poking and you just speed into them, you're probably not going to kill anything.
Yeah.
You kind of want to be using your speed amp when there's a opportunity for when people are low, or if there's somebody like just kind of out of position. And you can rush in, but you kind of want to communicate that to your team of like, okay, we're going in now. I know you can't do that right now because you're talking with me, but in a when you're not talking with me in a normal situation, you would say, okay, we're amping in 3, 2, 1, count it down so that everyone's ready, everyone's grouped up, and then you all run in together. A lot of the time here, it just kind of seems like you amp and then your team just kind of stays in the same spot
Yeah.
and swings.
gonna take this first take energy. Give me some energy. Thank you. Okay, hold a second until I get bubble again. Alright. Okay. Okay, I have bubble in 2 seconds. Engage.
Oh.
Go. Fight.
Ugh.
Pino flash. K1 with P1. Oh, that's.
Okay, please stop. We're down at DPS, and I'm out of heals. I can heal you. Healing orb.
Oh. So like he should have probably pinned out there, right?
In that scenario, I'd probably say tell your team to die in cart because there's a very unlikely chance that any of you get out and survive, which means that you
Yeah.
want to stall cart out. So that way you can get a second recontest while all of you being full, rather than just staggering in like you're about to.
Go on. With me.
Fortunately, you all get back in time, but it could have been much worse if they had pushed forward and staggered people, or if you all didn't come out together.
Oh, big shot. Sorry. I got pinned.
Uh-oh.
1 point. Nice.
Yeah,
Good.
so
Yo, good job, guys.
We are massive. We're playing attack. Dude.
yeah, the big thing there is like if you know if you kind of have to evaluate, can I or my team make it out? If the answer is no, then you stay dying point, and then you all go in and just don't give them any cart push, and then you can all come back together, because otherwise you're staggering your deaths, so you're all coming out staggered, which will mean that in turn it's possible for them to kill the people who went out of spawn first, and that which creates more staggering, and then you don't have a recontest.
Yeah, that's how they get 6-3 in 1 minute of overtime.
Yep.
We're gonna need our Lucio to go probably Baptiste.
Yeah, do you think I should go Bap or Ana here, or Mercy?
Probably
If
Bap
we're
because
gonna
he has
dash in.
immortality. Mercy, it be the preference. Oh, okay, he's not talking. Oh,
Yeah,
he
he's
swapped
good.
off, but the preference would be Bap Mercy because of immortality, and the Mercy is the damage boost in pocket. But if you don't have a
Would you rather play
Mercy, the Bap's more important because of the immortality.
Yeah.
Because Bastion kind of needs that time where he's invincible to mow down people if they jump on top of him.
Oops.
Big up for second. I also have 0 energy.
Dang. I
So
really thought he made it out. No one's fishing card again.
yeah, so in an example like that, that might not be the smartest time to just amp at them, because amping at them, you kind of want to poke at this point. You don't want to engage the fight right away when they have the ability to just run away, because then you're wasting abilities and you're wasting health to get to them, and then they just win the fight because they outpoke you. So you don't always need to instantly speed in.
Use it, fight it.
I'm freaking like low on heals. Nice.
Woo! Dang. I'm just gonna use this because it looks like we're winning the fight.
Yep, exactly. Make
and
sure.
we can stagger them, like you were saying before.
Yep, perfect.
So now they're staggered.
So because of the fact that you had the cart so fast before the you have to kind of evaluate when you're on the attacking side. You have to evaluate where is the cart when we won the fight. Oh, and unfortunately you lost.
Yeah.
In that scenario,
Yep.
it'd probably be better to stay with your team, because chasing down that one kill doesn't matter in comparison to staying with your team and keeping them alive.
Yeah. I thought Ryan and I might be able to run down the Moira because I thought she faded in. So if I was speeding him on,
Don't take too much damage.
but I didn't say anything also. So
Oh shit, nice.
Help your hand.
I'm helping Ryan. Pocket me. Holding it, like left click.
Triple you, tank.
Wait, did he draw yet?
Big dab.
Huge.
Big dab.
Huge.
Well done.
We got it.
I should have stopped that.
Yep, but you know there's mercy. Just be prepared with the boops.
Nice.
Okay, so that is an example of a mistake that was not punished. So there are some times that you make mistakes, but it still works out anyways, and that would be an example of that. So you need to pay very close attention to kill feed, because that's gonna let you know who's winning the fight. In that second to last fight, you were up 4 kills, and so it was a 6v2, and maybe one person on your team was critical, but they didn't have enough teammates alive to finish that off. So beating did more harm than good, because that meant that you didn't have it for the next fight. Okay, give me 1 second. I am gonna open up Overwatch real quick so I can stream this. Just give me a second. Okay, streaming. Let me know when you're there.
I can see it.
Alright, so wait, were we on there? We were on Lucio. So
Come on, let's bring it together.
oh, this is what I'm doing here. So I wanted to come no, not there. I wanted to come here. We're gonna talk about different thought I canceled it. So we're gonna talk about different aspects of communication. So there are 3 different aspects to communication, 3 different kind of sections. There's shot calling, there's ult tracking, and there's ult management. So we're gonna talk about there's also target calling. So target calling is going to be calling out character names. This is going to be less important when you're on characters that you're not doing a lot of damage on. So if you're playing Ana, you might not want to play this because your main focus might not be on damaging, and you might not have an accurate know-how of who is the best target. But basically, if you're playing a hero like Lucio, where you have a wide view of the entire battlefield, you can call targets, just spam their name, go Ryan 999, and then what that allows you to do is everyone on your team focuses Ryan down, and he dies faster before he can get healing, which therefore gives supports less ult charge. Ryan dies faster, he gets less ult charge, and he dishes out less damage, and then you're up a pick, and you can focus somebody else down. Then we're gonna move on to a little bit of shot calling. So a big thing is watching kill feed. Not everyone watches kill feed, and if you're watching kill feed, then you have a lot more information than the rest of your team does. So if you're watching kill feed, then you can know whether or not you're winning or losing fights, which is very important. So if you're up 1 person, that means you have an advantage. You didn't win the fight yet. If you're down a person, that's a disadvantage. You didn't lose the fight yet. If you're up 2 people, this could be if you're 3-1, 4-2, as long as you're just up 2 people, that's most likely going to be a won fight. If you're down 2 people, that's most likely a lost fight. So those are, unless ultimates are involved, or it's overtime, or you kind of need to win that fight, you call the fight at that 2-person marker. So if you're down 2 people, you say, okay, we lost, back up, no ults. So you go no ults, back up, we lost. That way you're not over-ulting in a fight where you already lost, so you're not wasting ultimates. Same thing with when you want to fight. You don't want to waste ultimates when you want to fight. So you call that out to your team who might not be paying attention, and then that way you're not over-ulting. So next thing we're going to talk about is ult tracking. So the basics for ult tracking, and all this should be calm to your team, is you're going to press tab. So that's why we're here at the hero gallery. So you're going to press tab, and then you're going, after every single fight, just happen whether you win the fight, lose the fight, just you press tab, and you look at the top 6 characters of the enemy team. We're going to pretend like these are the top 6 enemy characters, and we're going to go left to right, and we're going to use a process of elimination to guesstimate what ultimates they're going to have. So last fight, I saw or heard them use Nano, Bob, and Baptiste. That means they don't have those because they just used it last fight. They just swapped from Bastion to Soldier, so they first off we're calling that out to our team that they swapped the character, and we're also calling out that he reset his ult, so he doesn't have that ult. And then we go, okay, I didn't see it. Did they use Brig or D.Va ult? And your team says, oh, they use Brig ult. So now you know that the only ultimate that they have is D.Va ult, which allows you to prepare for it. This is very important when you're on characters like Lucio, because it allows you to prepare for what ultimates you're going to be using beat for. So if you know that they have a Ryan, Genji, and Ana, it's probably going to be smart to save it for Nanoblade. But if you get full team shattered, it might be worth using beat for the full team shatter. If you know that they have a shatter, then you can prepare for it by making sure you're not touching the ground so that you don't get shattered. If you know they have a Genji Nanoblade, you need to sit a little bit farther back so that he's not killing you first, and you need to be ready to boop him. If they have EMP, you need to be sitting out of line of sight. It's very important to know when they have ultimates so that you can react accordingly. You don't want to be thinking about it right as the fight starts, because if you think about it right as the fight starts, you're relying on complete reactions, whereas if you plan before the fight starts, you're taking less away from the reaction time and putting more into the pre-fight planning, which is going to take a lot of pressure off of you mid-fight. So next up on the list for comms is ult management. So right after you call what they have, you're going to look at your team comp and your ultimates, and you're going to tell your team what you're going to use. So you don't want to use 6 ultimates, because if you use 6 ultimates, that means that the next fight, you're going to have 0 ultimates, and they probably have ultimates, so you're going to lose the next fight. So preferably you use 1 to 2, possibly 3 ults in a fight. If they use a whole bunch, then you can use more too. But you will call out what ultimates, and then you also try to combo those ultimates, which is really important. So you can say, okay, we're going to use Pull Mei, and we're going to use Moira if we need the Moira ult. And then that way you're saving Kree, Mercy, and Pharah ult, and then you're also calling the combo. You're using Pull Mei. You're making sure the versus pulling it. This becomes very important when you're using things like Nanoblade, Zarya, Hanzo, things that need to be comboed, but your Hanzo might be dead. He might whiff off Dragon when Zarya didn't grab. Zarya might ult when Hanzo's nowhere in sight. So if there's no communication involved and you're not telling them to do it, they might not be looking to set it up properly. So call it out and they can combo it better, and then you call it out so that you're not over ulting as well. You have any questions on any of that or anything we talked about in the first round?
Nope, that all makes sense.
Okay, well then you can probably get started in a new queue. I'm trying to think if there's any techie things.
Come on, let's bring it together.
So with Lucio,
Yeah, time to heal up.
this was one thing that, so this was something that I saw Red Shell tweet about, was that he doesn't hold
Check this out.
he doesn't hold side buttons. He just looks where he wants to go, and then that helps him. So I'm not holding any of my side buttons. I'm not pressing A, S, or D right now, and then that's gonna give me a tad bit more mobility and being able to get around the map. Of course, I also have a little bit of experience on Lucio, but I've actually never tried this before. I just saw the tweet recently.
Now, sometimes I feel like if I'm not holding those side buttons, I don't grab the wall. Even if I have released and tried to I don't know.
The thing is, you kind of it's difficult. I don't know if because I'm not a Lucio player, I don't know if I can really describe how you're supposed to do it, but the biggest thing is you tap every time you get close to the wall, or you can even just kind of spam it. I have it bound to right click because it hurt my thumb when I would spam jump, but you hold or spam right click depending on what wall you're trying to ride on.
Nothing's gonna stop me. This is
Alright,
gonna
I hear
make
you're
you
in
feel
game.
better.
I'm gonna
Imagine the worst possible.
Now, avoid that.
Now, no main shield. Should I set up on this high ground most likely?
So I personally sit on the stairs because it's the kind of the bottom stairs right below you right now. Because it's very hard to actually shoot anybody from high ground. Then it also exposes you to enemy lines of fire and your free dive if they are running dive. So snipers or dive counter you, and then you also don't have a great line of sight.
Ryan's anti. Ryan's anti. Diva's asleep. Oh.
So because they are pushing in, you can probably back up to the right corner.
Oh.
When you see people, someone's critical, it's probably not a great time to reload. Reloading should be reserved for when nobody's in need of healing, and you have a kind of free time because you're ducked behind cover or something like that. Alright.
Yeah, I kept healing the hog too when he was antied, and I should have just reloaded then.
Yeah, you reload as soon as you see that he's antied, but you don't reload when he's like not antied anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I waited. I hit him like once, and then when he's take a breather, I reloaded when I could have been healing him. Ryan's asleep. Oh. Diva's diving the backline.
So like we were talking about with our ultimates, a big thing is with Ana is going to be seeing what you're going to nano. So you always, even at the beginning of the game, you can think, okay, what's the number one? Oh, talk in a second.
I tried to interrupt it. So now here, should I just nano someone? Because I'm going to die. And I don't want to not use it.
Have you been watching Kill Feed is the question.
Well, I know a lot of my team has died. Or at least 2.
But you also got 4 picks, so nano is probably not necessary in a fight where you have
I
close
had not
ones.
seen that.
Yep,
I did
so
miss that.
that's where it's important to watch kill cams because your team fragged back, which means that nano's not necessary. So before the fights start, before the game even starts, you can press tab and think, okay, who are going to be my nano priorities? Who's number 1? If they're not alive or they don't have their ultimate, who am I nanoing as kind of a secondary? So Genji, if he has his ultimate, it's going to be in number 1. Monkey probably in number 2. Hog, if he has his ultimate, is probably in number 3. That'd be a fine
There
time
I just ran out of ammo.
I'd probably say you got 2 kills, so you recovered from it. But I think that would have been a fine time to Nano Hog because he was in the middle of the enemy team and critical. You can use Nano to keep people alive, and if you lose Hog and you don't get that kill, so it was kind of a mistake that again, it was a mistake that wasn't punished because you got the kills. But if Hog got picked and you didn't get kills, then they would have been easily pushing in, and then you would have lost the next fight. Also, Fart's a very good nano target as well. You have a lot of good nano targets, so you should just kind of be using it as often as possible.
All right.
Yep. So you've had nano for like
yeah, I know.
yeah, for like 3 fights now. Like it just means that you're kind of maybe holding on to it too late into the fight because you're not getting out right away. Nano's not an ultimate that you want to hold on to, but it's also you don't want to be using it after you've already won a fight or you've already lost a fight. So just kind of make sure that you're using it at the beginning of the fight. So right now you have you should be pressing tab and you see that you have blade up. So you're looking to use
I tried to get it off there. I'll try and hit Monkey because he's on their healers. It looked like. All right, we got that.
Okay, that's fine because now you baited out trans. You called out to your Genji so that he knows that because he was dead in spawn. So now he knows that he can blade for free. Which he already bladed, but that's important information for your Genji to know. So when people use ultimates, you call that out.
Oh, whoops. Oh, I was like, why didn't I get on Lucio? But he's picked him.
Yeah, we'll talk about. I already have something I think talk about afterwards.
Yeah, I'm a bot when it comes to aiming unscoped. I know I need to practice that.
So the thing is, at that range, when you are under, so you unscoped because it gives you mobility and visibility,
Yeah.
and that's good when you're under pressure. But when people are at a range, that's very difficult. So what you want to do is quick scope, because that gives you the mobility, and it just is a slightly slower fire rate. So I'll go over when to use all the different types of scopes after this game's done, because that's gonna be something I want to demonstrate in practice range, so I have a visual for it. But we'll talk about when to use the different types of scoping. So we only got 1 nano off, where in that was like, yeah, a minute and a half. So there were like 5.5 minutes in that game, and you used 1 nano, or no, because they capped first point almost instantly. Oh yeah, so that means like 5.5 minutes, right? Maybe I'm
Let me
messing that
see.
up, but
Wait. Here, after these 25 seconds, I can tell you.
yeah. So it just means that you don't have a high nano rate, and more ultimates is always gonna be better, because if you're using more ultimates, that means you're winning more fights, which means that you're getting more kills, you're winning more fights, and then that means you're winning more games in general. So more ultimates is always going to be better. And Ana's ultimate, especially in a comp where you can use it on 4 different people, not going to be a big reason to just kind of hold on to it for any length of time. So as soon as you see that your team is engaging with them and you're fighting, you're nanoing something so that you can win the fight.
All right.
So when you're
I just
okay.
So should I just have used it anyway earlier and then just built up another one? Because I know I held it for a while and used it, and we got the trance. But after that, when they pushed in, I just never was really able to establish a position. So like every time I'd go in, I just die in like 5 seconds because
Wait,
D.Va would
in a
jump on
stall
me.
fight.
Yeah, so it's like
Ana's probably not the best character in a stall fight because she doesn't have survivability.
So should I have swapped to like Brig or something?
Probably
Someone's
Moira.
asleep up on the high ground. Oops.
Moira would probably be the best besides Lucio. Just because of her mobility, she gets out faster. Supports besides Lucio, there's not a lot of great stall characters.
So now do you think here as well, should I switch to Lucio so we can pressure? Oh, he ate my nade.
No,
like, so we have some way of getting in?
Ana's okay. Lucio might be great to speed your Ryan around, but if you don't play Lucio, you can basically get the Grandmaster no matter what hero you're playing, no matter what situation, if you know how to play the hero correctly. It's just that Lucio would make it easier to win this in this situation. So if you want to practice Ana, you can play her here, because you can most definitely play any character on any map and make it to high level. It doesn't really matter what character you're playing until tier 3, and like in team environments. Besides that, heroes don't matter as long as you know how to play the game. But if you're knowing when to swap to what is definitely a skill that can be learned, and Lucio would be good. Actually no, you have a hog. I thought you had a Rhine. If when you're running monkey hog, you probably don't need a Lucio, because you have a lot of dually characters, and you don't really need to be speeding any main bulk around.
So now here they probably have Shadow, right? Oh.
Yep.
Should I nano monk? So now why is there Ryan chasing me?
Because he's not intelligent. So you sleep him and then you nano somebody.
Dang.
Don't rush. Make sure you're healing yourself with that nade too. Because you didn't heal yourself with that nade, you died when you could have survived that. Whenever you're nading, you're trying to hit as many people as possible with it. So that means yourself, enemies, your teammates. just pay attention to your health. Here, this is be a situation where your team's still trying to fight the fight, but they only have like 3 or 4 people there. So that means they're
Yeah.
probably not gonna win that fight, which means that this is where you tell your team to get out. But they did just get 2 picks, so it's actually possible. Question mark.
It's diamond. Anything's
Yeah.
possible. So yeah.
So
If Monkey goes in, I'm. I don't even know who I slept. What? How did that go into the Hanzo?
he stepped in front of you for half a second.
Moira's asleep.
So when
What's
you're
up?
nanoing, you need to be 100% extra sure that you're not you're isolated from people. So it's the same thing as nades. So when you're nading
Big anti,
people,
big anti, big anti, huge anti. Ugh. Main Ryan anti.
okay, for good anti. So when you're hitting nades, you want to make sure there's nobody around you to interrupt it. When you're hitting nanos, you want to make sure that there's nobody around you to interrupt it. You don't want to make sure that you're running into anything. You want to make sure that no one's gonna jump in the way at the last second. So if you know there's a Hanzo near you, you purposefully step to the side so that the Hanzo's not gonna be in the way.
See,
Throw that nade, basically, if you see that your team's about to wake him up, throw that nade as soon as you kind of see the signs that they're about to wake him up. Because it's better to get the nade off and have them wake him up early than to have them wake him up early and not have the nade off.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine. This is going to hurt. I will keep you here. This will only
was that? Do you think that would have been worth nanoing? I guess not.
Probably. This is another good example. It's just that you kind of want to use it. You just want to hold on to it. It's not. There's never gonna be the perfect scenario to nano somebody. That's never gonna happen. So you just want to pop it because it's never gonna happen where. Like just again, you've had 1 nano in the same time period as last time. So you just want to use it a bit faster, using a bit more scenarios, because there's never going to be the perfect scenario. Oh, actually, you had 2 nanos, my bad. But you just want to be using it in more scenarios, even if it's not the perfect scenario.
Anti, on anti, on anti. Ryan asleep.
Good sleep, a good nade.
Reaper's on me on bridge.
Okay, make sure that you're extra careful. You're not tunnel visioning on targets.
I didn't see him switch to Reaper. And then I just didn't have any cooldowns to stop him.
Just make sure that because if you're paying attention to the left side, then you can shoot him and you can also call it out faster. So just don't be tunnel visioning on the one direction. Look around.
So we should probably leave at this point, right?
Yep, you only have 3 people in. That's probably not.
And they
again,
ulted.
Every time I say that, your team gets like 2 kills, 3 kills.
Ana, Diva anti. I can't see behind the pillar, Sigma. I don't know where he went. Is he ever gonna?
So he's just trying to stall. So sleeping it might be the best option because it's probably.
Yeah, I just wasn't gonna hit him in the air, so I was waiting for him to use pile driver. Reaper might ult.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna send you a nano priority list real quick. So this is my self-made nano priority list. The red is going to be characters that have good ultimate combos. The purple is or blue, whatever that color is going to be characters that have good primary. They're good primary nano targets. So Ryan his swinging is just gonna be very good to nano. He's also very good to target the nano because visibility to brawl and keep him up while he's brawling. Same with Winston. He does a lot of cleave damage when he's nanoed and he's shooting at 6 people at once. So, and then green is going to be those who are good for both. Hog is probably only going to be great when he's using his ult, so when he's not using his ult, he's going to be hard to find value out of Nano. Whereas a Reaper is going to be a lot easier to find value in any scenario where that you Nano him. So he's going to be able to kill things a lot faster, which is kind of what you want in that scenario. Because if you
think of that last fight, I nanoed Hog after he hooked the Reaper just to try and confirm that kill. Because can Hog one-shot Reaper? Or
he can, if he combos the... If he already had some damage. I don't know if he can one-shot the regular 250. He can if he has a melee in right afterwards, but it is definitely possible.
I didn't throw it far enough. Zarya's alone. Zarya no bubble. And empty.
Call where alone at. You want to give your team as much information as possible, so you just sit on the Zarya on left mini, something like that.
Oh my god. At least they're getting really staggered. Yeah, I don't know why my brain just assumed that because I saw like one other person that saw them. I do that a lot. Like if I'm with one other person and see it, I won't call it, or I'll spend so much time thinking of the stupid call out when I could just say like what pack they're by. Anti left side.
Yep. Very good that you just said left. Like that's literally all that I use. I just use left, right, up, left high ground.
Watch their shatters.
Wait. Okay, nice draw. Okay, I'm gonna stream Grenade real quick. So
Never stop fighting for what you believe in.
let me know when you're there.
All right.
So Ana, 3 different types of scopes. You have left click, unscoped, right click, scoped, and then you have the quick scope. So when to use each. So on squishy targets, you can have a 10-meter range. Anything up within the 10 meters is going to be unscoped. With tanks, anything within 15 meters is unscoped because they have bigger hitboxes. Anything farther than 10 meters is going to be scoped. Anything farther than 15 meters on a tank is going to be scoped. When you want to be quick scoping them is when you're under pressure, because we talked about this briefly, but when you're unscoped, you have mobility and you have visibility. When you're scoped, you're slow and you have limited visibility. When you quick scope, you keep the mobility, visibility, and you also get the benefit of it changing from projectile to a hit scan. So when that way, it's not traveling very slowly and then making it very hard to hit a fire while she's flying in the sky. So, or a monkey jumping up in the air. It's gonna make it a lot easier when they're across the map and you're quick scoping the sky than just trying to go like this on them in midair. So when you're under pressure, you can't be just sitting here scoped in. You have somebody looking at you. You just quickly do that. The only downside is that it's gonna have a slower fire rate than just holding it down. So you hold it down whenever possible, but if you're under pressure, you do the quick scope.
Now, how do I time quick scopes? Because that's something I'm bad at. Like if I'm trying to chain a few, I'll get like 1 or 2, and then my third one I'll scope and I won't fire the shot because I'll be in an animation or something.
That's
like that.
Oh. That's kind of like a muscle memory thing. It's just kind of like right click, left click, right click, right click, left click. You kind of get the timing down, and then once you get that timing down, it stays with you. So right click, left click, right click, left click. right click, left click. If you do it too fast, if you just do right click, left click, then it cancels. But you have to do right click, wait half a second, left click. And then that way you're getting that off.
Age and beauty.
I didn't know if there was
I'll have you on
something
both.
in like the reload animation I could look for.
Um,
So I guess waiting the extra
Basically-
second will be worth it instead
basically-
of canceling.
you can look for the animation. Basically, you just wait until it just you see the little flash, and then as soon as you see the flash where your screen gets covered for half a second, you see that? You see the flash? Do you see what I'm talking about?
No, where should I be looking?
So just your entire screen. Your entire screen goes in the scoped animation for half a second. So your entire screen gets covered
yeah.
up. When that happens, that's when you left click. So you'll just kind of get that muscle memory down if you practice it a little bit. Go in the training range, practice that, and then once you have it down, you can implement it into actual games.
Yeah, so it's like that part I think I've got. It's like if I'm trying to shoot too quickly, like if I'm trying to get too many shots out, kind of thing. So like I can time it so that I'm firing the hit scan. Like I can time the quick scope well. It's just
make sure you're not
like you were
rushing.
saying. Yeah, I didn't know if there was like a certain time in the reload, which was like better
You're
to
powered
start
up. Get in there.
scoping in for the next shot. You know.
No, it's really about the muscle memory. You just need to make sure that you're not panicking and rushing it. That was one thing I noticed when you're playing was a few times when you're in intense situations, I hear you're breathing very heavily. You're going, and I can kind of hear through your mic. You just need to remember to keep breathing calm,
I
keep it
expected more from
collected,
you.
because when you're calm and collected, that means that you're thinking more clearly and you're gonna be hitting more shots easier, and you're gonna not be making as many mistakes. When you rush things and when you don't act calm, then that's when you get into problems and when you start losing and playing poorly. And you just have to remember that playing Overwatch really shouldn't make you nervous. Shouldn't make you it shouldn't be intense for you, because it's a game and you're not an Overwatch player or Overwatch League player. Sorry, you're an Overwatch player, but you're not an Overwatch League player. You're not getting paid to play currently, so take it calm and you'll be playing better. So calm equals better, and if you're rushing it for no reason, then that means you're gonna be performing worse.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
So we have 1 more minute. Do you have any last minute questions before we wrap it up?
Healing in hand.
But then how is my aim? Should I have prioritized anything more? Like, was my crosshair
yeah.
placement okay, or?
I think your aim is fine. One thing I didn't really mention, but with your positioning on Ana, you just kind of want to look for 3 different things. You want to make sure that you have line of sight on your team. You want to make sure that enemy doesn't have line of sight on you, but you also have access to getting nades off. So an example would be right here. So let's say our team's holding here, enemy team's holding around the corner. If we're sitting back here, enemy team can't see us, we can heal our team, but as soon as everyone's full, we have a chance to go up for 3 seconds. We throw a nade at them from above, we get a sleep off maybe, and then we can drop back down to safety. So you want to look for positioning that gives you all those 3 options, or if it doesn't give you 3 of them, look for 2 of them, where you can be safe behind cover, heal your team, but then also have the ability to get very easy nades and sleeps off from an off angle. With your aim, your aim seemed completely fine to me. It was just kind of the when to use what with your scoping that struggled a little bit.
All right.
Okay, anything else?
Oh, I just had it. Right, I can't remember it now.
Alright.
I was just gonna say
A lot
something.
header.
Oh yeah. I know you were mentioning Red Shell a lot. Are there any players you think I should watch specifically, or that tweet out a lot of good information?
I really only mentioned Red Shell because of that one specific tweet that I saw about his wall riding, but
Okay, yeah.
ML7 is a very good Ana
You're
player.
powered up. Get
It's
in
not
there.
really Sleepy. I know plays Ana as well, but he's kind of more memey than than ML7 will be. ML7 kind of goes for cool plays, but Sleepy's kind of memey in his play style, goes for funny plays. So ML7 would be the big one. You can look up guides that he does, where he talks about position. He talks about your mindset, how you should be thinking when you're playing. But yeah, he's the one I'd look at if you're looking to get better at Ana.
All right.
Okay. Well, if you ever have any other questions, feel free to message me anytime. I'll be happy to answer them. I will have the. I'm gonna end the VOD right now, or the recording.